Because their planet was in ruins, aliens invaded Earth 2 years ago in search of a new home. They began creating extremely lethal weapons after capturing people as slaves. A group of survivors in Australia retaliated, released their family from enslavement, and, with military assistance, took the aliens by yappins. They made friends with some aliens that day, and in return for a place to stay, they pledged to assist humans in fighting their overlords. The Australian team is attempting to retake Sydney, which has been retaken by aliens. The extraterrestrial forces are simultaneously covering the ground and the air, with troops on foot and planes dropping bombs, which is why there are explosions everywhere. Although the soldiers have only been in this position for a few days, it is obvious that they are losing squads at an increasing rate. Thanks to confidential information provided by an alien ally, a group of survivors under the leadership of Matt are breaking into the large alien ship at the alien colony on western Sydney by using the sewers. As a diversion, the military launches their aircraft and fires on the alien ship after they determine they are inside. More planes are sent out right away by the aliens to fight in the air. When Matt's squad enters the ship, several aliens posing as guards start shooting at their fellows because they support the humans. Matt and his guys locate a cage and deactivate it to save many human inmates, while the aliens are firing at one another. The squad removes the inmates right away, but Matt waits after spotting 3 extraterrestrial children. He hesitates for a moment before deciding not to shoot them, and returns to the battle. Matt enters the control room while continuing to shoot attackers, not realizing that the planes are warning of an impending attack. A large extraterrestrial commander appears and murders one of the soldiers while he examines every file on the computer. The group attacks simultaneously, but the alien is so powerful that he takes them all out in a matter of seconds. But this was all a pretext to plant a grenade inside the alien's armor, which, when detonated, instantly kills the creature. Just before the jets blow up the entire ship, Matt grabs his helmet and departs with the squad and the hostages. Amelia, Abraham, and Gary, an extraterrestrial ally, are skulking around the ruins in the meantime. When they discover a child, they drop their weapons, but Gary takes her headband and destroys it since it appears to be an extraterrestrial camera. Turns out that the girl accepted food in exchange for spying, and now she's so terrified that she flees. The 3 continue their journey and meet in secret with several extraterrestrials who wish to join the humans. They share some information because they are out of supplies. Kali, the guardians of the alien elders, is on the way. Additionally, there is discussion regarding rainfall. They then head back to the Resistance headquarters, which is housed underground in Sydney. Gary wants to have a good look at the helmet that Matt presents, but Matt only gives it to him after some jeering. During a conference to assess the issue, they find out that the US and European forces are struggling and that even their nuclear weapons aren't working. Commander Hayes believes they should go since they would soon lose Sydney. Abraham laments that they continue to come across folks in need of rescue. Abraham agrees to evacuate, but Hayes argues that it's hard to find survivors these days, and they can't risk losing their army for 1 or 2 lost people. Amelia then reveals that during the previous several weeks, a number of sources have indicated an event known as rainfall, which Matt's data from the main computer has corroborated. In actuality, contains only one human word. According to Captain Wessex, Pine Gap, an American outpost in Central Australia with a similar history as Area 51, was known by the code name Rainfall. According to Gary, the helmet is the property of the Kali, a superior warrior group that guards the elder aliens. Since they don't often participate in conflicts, aliens must be organizing a major event if they are present. Despite Hayes' objections, Abraham dispatches Matt and Gary to look into the matter. Gary persuades Matt to ride some extraterrestrial creatures known as Vox, which will be concealed in a van until they come across a gap in the road. Because Pine Gap lies in the middle of the desert, the evacuation begins at the same moment. The pilots depart in the aircraft for additional backup, and all of the citizens are placed in any available vehicle with armed soldiers for safety. The humans inside the buses panic as the aliens commence fire with their planes as soon as they open the gates. As quickly as they can, the jets retaliate, defeating numerous adversaries, but also losing some teammates. Additionally, the soldiers on the vehicles start shooting, bringing down alien planes that collide with the deserted structures. Gary and Matt are firing at the aliens in the van with the Voxes as well, but they are taken aback to learn that Amelia's brother Marcus has infiltrated the van. Gary claims they could use some assistance, but Matt wants him gone. Before long, the rear of one of the buses catches fire, forcing the citizens to gather at the front while the military rush to cover the hole that results. The alien planes are chasing the jets down the road, but the pilots make it back in time to eliminate a few adversaries, before they can shoot down the buses. The Resistance headquarters, where some soldiers are still completing the escape, is then attacked by the alien ground forces. They lead the surviving civilians via a tunnel to board some trucks after a shootout breaks out. Amelia disagrees with Hayes' directives for the humans to leave first, and the aliens to wait. A second explosion at the entrance signals the approach of the aliens when the tunnel begins to tremble and the ceiling begins to collapse. While the soldiers do their utmost to shield the fleeing civilians from the open fire, the battle goes on. They get a communication with bad news from some soldiers on the field, which exacerbates the situation. The city is being bombed by the alien colony ship. Before joining the soldiers at the gate, Amelia takes advantage of the confusion to get the alien allies into the trucks as well. The trucks eventually depart and escape just before the bomb strikes Sydney, completely destroying it, after Abraham also gets aboard. Matt, Marcus, and Gary get off the Voxes while the convoy enters the countryside. They come across numerous wrecked ships and strange buildings along the way. The remaining cars arrive at a Blue Mountains military installation, where all of the extraterrestrial allies are segregated from the humans for validation. The person in command of this base, Hayes, tours Amelia's group prior to being reinforced for war. The installation, a military research center from the 1950s, housed classified programs. Hydroelectric power, medical bays, and even an entire fleet of planes are available. In the hopes of a more equitable battle, Hayes also discloses that they have been upgrading the humans' aircraft with alien technology. Matt's crew, meanwhile, finds a group of people escaping across a field as the alien planes pursue them and start shooting at them. Although they lack the resources, Marcus wants to assist them. Gary goes to speak with the guards when they see that they are driving a flying car. Matt starts shooting as soon as the guards are diverted, and Gary follows suit, swiftly eliminating them. Marcus then mounts the cannon to begin shooting down the plane when Gary turns on the vehicle system. Matt believes he has been abandoned as Gary takes off since there are approaching dangerous Kali warriors, but he is able to grab onto the enemy car as it flies overhead. The plane quickly joins the pursuit and even shoots Gary's automobile, but it doesn't damage it. The other car closes in and begins striking Gary's, who accelerates in an attempt to lose it as Marcus keeps shooting them and causing them to collide. Matt gets on top of the second car to battle the alien since it is also shooting at them. The alien nearly forces Matt off the car after they trade blows, but he just manages to unlock the top hatch. Marcus shoots the alien at the cannon, affording Matt some time, and the driver closes it again to send him back. As the battle goes on, the alien places an explosive device on Matt's chest, but he just opens the hatch once more and hurls the device at the driver. Then, just as the automobile explodes, he leaps out of it. Regretfully, the alien makes it through the accident and returns to continue attacking Matt. The creature tries to force his face into the car's thrusters by grabbing it, but the Vox suddenly charges in and knocks the alien down before devouring him. When Marcus and Gary pull Matt up, he reveals that the aliens were also searching for rainfall. Amelia and Dennis approach Dennis' pilot girlfriend Robin about it, after realizing they haven't seen the friendly aliens for days at the base. She asserts, however, that not everyone is fighting for peace and defends Hayes' protocol. Dennis admits he stole her security pass after she departs. Amelia enters the restricted area covertly when he diverts the guards. She discovers a sizable laboratory with the bioweapon that Matt stole 2 years prior inside a tent. Amelia uses the radio to inform Dennis of her discovery, but she must flee as the tent begins to fill with gas. After running down a plastic tube and down a slide, she finds herself in a hallway where all of the Voxes and aliens are being tortured or used in experiments in cells. Many of them are either already dead or barely living. When Amelia tries to open the doors to free them, Hayes' men swiftly encircle her and take her hostage. When they return to Matt's group and camp with the Voxes, Matt still feels uneasy about the aliens' presence. Gary identifies the roaring sound in the distance as coming from a Zilliq, a large predator that enjoys eating voxels. As soon as the Zilliq descends the mountain, the three of them start shooting. Unfortunately, the monster's thick hide is unaffected by their weaponry, and it begins to move in the direction of the Voxes. When Matt tries to run to assist them, the automobile explodes, throwing him back. Gary begins fighting Kali warriors, who created the blast. He shoots one with his extraterrestrial handgun, but the second one demands to know where Rainfall is and disarms him with a sword. When Gary reveals that he possesses a sword as well, the two aliens begin to battle, their blades colliding. Gary's skill as a warrior is insufficient to prevent his opponent from overwhelming him. Marcus keeps shooting at the Zilliq in the meantime, and the Voxes are attacking it as well. Marcus is unfortunately knocked unconscious by the beast's swift Vox down, Matt begins shooting at the Zilliq as it prepares to devour Marcus as well, but his gun runs out of ammunition. The Zilliq prepares to devour him before being killed instantly by an explosion. This diverts the Kali warrior, so Gary takes advantage of the opportunity to murder it. Matt prepares to shoot as a light comes close, but it turns out to be Peter and his daughter Bella. They separated from the battle team 2 years ago after their escape, and joined other survivors in a secret community close to the mountains. The villagers are terrified by Gary once the 3 of them are brought to this village. Fortunately, Marcus is unharmed when he awakens. Gary tells him that he has heard about Peter beating the head of an alien prisoner 2 years ago, and Peter says he doesn't take pride in what he did. Before long, the locals assemble outside Peter's home and demand Gary's head. Marcus rushes to be between the R8 throng and the Voxes, but Peter won't let Gary go. As the villagers prepare to forcibly enter Peter's home, Gary emerges and tells them they are free to try to exact revenge. Peter even intervenes to save Gary during the ensuing altercation, but they are obviously at a disadvantage because it is 2 people against a large throng. Peter is restrained by the villagers while they assault Gary, until Matt fires his gun to drive them away. Peter and Bella declare they will assist Matt in his endeavor after the villagers depart. Hayes orders his troops to lock Amelia up at the base, but Abraham and his group interrupt him. When Amelia tells them what she witnessed, Hayes reveals that he is attempting to turn the Baya-Yapan back so that it can kill extraterrestrials. It won't be able to discriminate between good and bad aliens, since it will assault Deanna. Hayes ignores Abraham's warning that it is genocide, and assures him that the aliens will soon locate the base. Hayes' men abruptly draw their weapons, and Abraham's crew follows suit, trapping them all in a confrontation. Wessex arrives with his own team at that point, and Hayes gives them orders to destroy Abraham's group. However, after learning of the genocidal plan, Wessex instructs his men to capture Hayes, leaving Abraham in command. The alarm then begins to shriek, signaling the invaders' approach. The base's power source is destroyed as 3 enormous spacecraft start shooting at it. They are unable to reach the pilots when the system fails. Abruptly, an extraterrestrial message is played on the speakers, threatening to destroy the base unless Amelia surrenders. Amelia believes it's best for her to depart, even though her friends don't. Abraham and Amelia proceed to greet the aliens after Wessex orders his men to form up outside. Amelia is told by an extraterrestrial elder that she is regarded as the head of humanity by her race. She had intended to collaborate, but after learning about the lab experiments, she views Amelia as an accomplice and tries to stab her. But instead, Abraham pushes Amelia and is killed. As Wessex gives the order for his soldiers to commence fire, Amelia flees, and the aliens instantly return fire. The area quickly catches fire. A soldier takes advantage of the fact that everyone is inside staring at the displays to liberate Hayes, who then seizes a gun and threatens anyone who dares to disobey. He swiftly shoots a soldier who tries to comfort him, before giving the command for his subordinates to prepare the Baya-Yapan. Dennis starts evacuating the civilians after the alien onslaught causes the entire base to tremble. Meanwhile, Matt's group eventually arrives at Pine Gap. They discover some abandoned offices after breaking inside the building. They follow a weird noise upstairs, and find a plainly inhabited place after hearing it abruptly. CIA operative Bud and Steve, an alien that speaks English like Gary, reside here. Bud tells the team that Steve crashed on Earth decades ago, and leads them via a secret corridor to a restricted area. When they inquire about rainfall, they discover rainfall there, which turns out to be an asteroid that was discovered in 1966 by scientists on the bottom. Bud believes that it was sent by aliens to purge Earth millions of years ago because it contains integrated extraterrestrial technology. Bud gives Hayes the explanation after Matt phones the base. The aliens will exterminate humanity, just like they did with the dinosaurs, if they recover the asteroid and launch it once more. Since they can place the Baya-Yapan inside, and allow the aliens to take it, Hayes sees the asteroid as the ideal trap. Gary becomes enraged at learning about the Baya-Yapan and begins damaging the computer, cutting off the call. After Matt knocks Gary away from the desk, he lands on the asteroid, which instantly turns on with a brilliant light, and notifies the alien elder of its location. Gary is a Kali, according to Steve, who claims that only they are capable of doing this. Marcus steps in to protect him as Matt prepares to shoot him. They will instead blow up the asteroid when Peter persuades Matt that Gary is on their side, and that genocide is a horrible concept. A couple aliens enter the area from the elevator shaft and vents as the electricity abruptly cuts off. The humans start shooting, and Gary uses his sword to battle them, cutting them to death with his Kali abilities. When Peter fires at a group of gas canisters, an explosion is produced that takes down several adversaries. The squad chooses to run and give destroying the asteroid top priority, because more aliens keep coming in no matter how many they kill. More aliens are blocking the corridor when they get there, but the Voxes beat them to the ground and begin consuming them. On the way back to the base, Wessex's men are just about to surrender, but they are determined to fight to the death. The jets launch and begin using regular fire to destroy alien planes, but they also have Bioweapon-equipped missiles ready for action. Amelia enters and joins Dennis in frightening the communications officer away. Amelia informs Dennis about the tests and the genocide when Dennis switches the frequency to reach Robin. Regretfully, the message is broadcast across the base, and Hayes calls Robin to remind her of his directives. A soldier who supports Hayes fires a missile at one of the enormous alien ships, after Robin makes the decision to retreat and orders her fellow pilots to follow suit. Many aliens are killed outside as the explosion sends the ship plummeting as the gas begins to spread. To regain control of the base, Wessex and his men flee back inside, and start shooting at Hayes and his troops. But Hayes leaves his troops to battle after escaping through a back door. After arriving in the subterranean laboratory, he discovers that it would take some time for the gas to reach the cells. Soldiers have located Amelia and Dennis in the communications room, where they are engaged in a gunfight. Amelia rushes to the labs and swiftly knocks down a scientist after Dennis offers to stay and serve as a distraction. After that, she confronts Hayes, who begins assaulting her. When Amelia tries to reach the console after hitting him with a gas tank, Hayes begins choking her. She can still reach the buttons and press one to let the gas out into the tent. She exits it, and shuts the door, allowing Hayes to suffocate to death. The troops attacking Dennis put out the fire after Wessex declares over the speakers that Hayes is dead, and that he is now the new leader. More aliens are closely following Matt, Marcus, Bella, and Gary as they arrive at Pine Gap, and enter the passage outside the asteroid room. The alien ship utilizes a unique beam to destroy the facility, and cause the room with the asteroid to fly up before they can engage in combat. Gary and the enemy are trapped in the descending part of the corridor as it progressively splits in two. Gary and an opponent are the only ones left clinging to some cables after the most of the aliens perish. To force the final adversary to fall as well, Bella uses her knife to sever some of those cables. Matt calls Gary his brother as he rushes to take his hand, and save him just in time as the hallway breaks. As Peter, Bud, and Steve look on helplessly from the ground, the alien ship absorbs the chamber and takes off. Even though some are still killed by the gas, Amelia frees the aliens from their confinement at the base so they can leave with the humans. To keep the enemy fire on them, soldiers and pilots remain behind as the trucks depart with the civilians and a few guards. Along with the other pilots, Robin perishes when the base is destroyed. All of the survivors reach the mountain settlement after a while. They now need to come up with a plan to save their buddies after Peter returns and breaks the dreadful news to Amelia.